Throughout Avatar: The Last Airbender, Ursa is nowhere to be found, only appearing in flashbacks in Zuko Alone and as a figment of Azula's imagination. Even with her not being present, she still holds a great deal of influence on both her children, shaping their perspectives and what their primary focus is. As a character, Ursa is a force to be reckoned with. When she was first introduced to the royal family, she sees how controlling it is, only being picked to be Ozai's wife because she's Avatar Roku's granddaughter. At their wedding, she is forced to say goodbye to her old life. Ozai specifically states, "You belong to the royal family now, and to me." After this day, Ursa becomes a caged bird unable to fly free. Despite all this, she still manages to hold her own against her toxic husband. She is one of the only people he can't control, which kind of frustrates him to no end. As Ozai threatens the safety of her children, she stands her ground. She is protective of her children, doing anything in her power to keep them safe, even coming up with a plan to kill Fire Lord Azula. After Ozai gets what he wants from her, she's banished, never to see her kids again. Despite this, her presence is still felt and looms over her children. I think the perfect line to sum up Ursa's character is, that's what moms are like. If you mess with their babies, they're going to bite back. Zuko's childhood was not the best, getting scarred and banished by his cruel father. Despite all that, some of his happiest memories are with his mother. Ursa is Zuko's beacon of light. Besides Iroh, Ursa is the only person in Zuko's life that doesn't see failure as a weakness. She praises him for trying, stating, "That's who you are, Zuko, someone who keeps fighting even when it's hard." Her gentle hand is what helps Zuko cope with the harshness of the royal family. Ursa's kindness towards Zuko makes Ozai more prone to criticizing him for being pathetic, knowing full well that this will anger Ursa in some way. Most of Ozai and Ursa's arguments are about Zuko, making Zuko feel like a failure that can't do anything right. This is why Ursa does everything in her power to protect her son. Both having to deal with the brunt of Ozai's anger is a big reason why they get along so well. Zuko and his mother are empathetic and kind-hearted individuals who are forced to reside in a toxic environment. It does take a great toll on them, but they know they can work together to get through it, and that they do. Feeling united and strong when they're together, showcasing the power of love and acceptance. Those types of lessons Ursa teaches scares Ozai because they negate his control, which will not be tolerated and is a big reason why Ursa had to leave. After Ursa is gone, things start to look a lot grimmer for Zuko. He tries his best to let go of the past, but it's too much emotion for him to bear, causing him to become angry about every little thing, never getting a true answer to where his mother went. That makes him feel alone and powerless. Both Ozai and Azula ridicule him for feeling grief over his loss, which results in more anger and more mockery. It's a never-ending cycle that breaks Zuko and disconnects him from his kind nature. The only way to stop this cruel cycle is to capture the Avatar to earn his father's praise, forcing him to become someone else entirely, doing truly heinous things in the process. This makes Zuko feel more guilty and even more disconnected from his true self, blowing up at his uncle and others that are only trying to help because it's easier to do so. Pushing away these supportive figures is easier than trusting them, because one of the only people Zuko fully trusted vanished without a trace, which causes him to think that it is Zuko versus the world. When he's torn between different extremes, he creates the blue spirit as a way to get in touch with his past, taking inspiration from Love Amongst the Dragons, a play him, his mother, and sister saw regularly. The blue spirit is a way of doing good quietly, also a way of detaching himself from Zuko, the scorned banished prince. It's only when he takes a trip alone he finally confronts his past, thinking of his past memories of his mother and how much she did to protect him, remembering Ursa's last words, "Never forget who you are." Her last words echo in his mind as he contemplates what his purpose is, and when he picks his father after the fall of Ba Sing Se, he feels more lost than ever, betraying his uncle, his mother, and most importantly, himself. Again, forgetting who he is. Instead of feeling angry at external forces, he shifts the blame to himself, enraged for picking the wrong side. This fire within him motivates him to find redemption and acceptance within himself, joining Team Avatar and finally finding peace. When he finally reunites with his mother, Ursa is so proud of all Zuko was able to overcome. As time progressed, Zuko and Ursa's roles reversed, making Zuko Ursa's protector, making sure nothing bad happens to her again. Through this kind and nurturing relationship, Zuko was able to forgive and accept himself, coming to terms with the fact that our failures make us stronger. Azula and her mother's relationship is complicated. Both are very strong, independent women who will speak their minds. One would think that this would be something that they bond over, right? Well, no, not at all. It makes them butt heads even more frequently. Ursa is the only authority figure in Azula's life, reprimanding her when she's acting out of line, which does not sit well with Azula because she doesn't like being told what to do. Although Ursa tries to act motherly towards her, Azula never really understands what she's getting scolded for. Both Zuko and Ursa are feeling personality types. They use their feelings about others and themselves to make decisions. When Zuko throws a loaf of bread at a turtle duck, he sees that this upsets his mother and stops the behavior, also understanding that turtle ducks will bite you if you throw a loaf of bread at them. Whereas Azula is a thinking personality type. She puts her emotions on the back burner. Now that doesn't mean that she doesn't have emotions or empathy for others. She just doesn't use her feelings as a primary factor to make a decision, relying more heavily on logic and impersonal criteria. When Azula burns a flower for being uglier than the others, she already came to a rational conclusion. The flower is ugly, so it has to be dealt with. She doesn't need anyone to tell her otherwise. For Ursa, this feels more like a personal attack. The garden is one of the only places Ursa feels peace within the suffering walls of the palace. Ursa tells Azula, "Go to your room and think about what you did," is kind of one of the worst things to say in this situation. Making her sit in isolation and think about a problem she already has solved is counterproductive. I'm not saying that Azula should get away with her bad behavior, far from it. What she truly needs is a safe environment where she can express her emotions instead of ignoring them. If you burn a flower, your brother, and your firebending teacher, there is definitely some pent-up rage that you need to let out. Ursa picking to scold Azula for her wrongdoing brings a wedge between them, both not wanting to talk about what plagues their relationship. This miscommunication makes them falsely assume things about the other. Ursa stating, "What's wrong with that child?" is not an insult towards Azula, it's more of a question to herself, truly showing how much of an enigma Azula is to her. I want to be clear, this doesn't mean that Ursa is a bad mother or doesn't care about her daughter. She truly does. Feeling sad when Azula runs away after the aftermath of the search, kissing Azula goodbye when she leaves the palace. Ursa loves her daughter, but she isn't as open about it as she is with Zuko. This disconnect makes Azula feel alone, unheard, and resentful towards her brother. Once Ursa is banished, Azula disassociates herself from her emotions and her mother altogether, thinking that this will solve all of her problems. She shrugs off the pain with a joke. "My own mother thought I was a monster." She was right, of course, but it still hurt. This line has so much pain and desperation behind it, showcasing years of emotional neglect. Azula isn't bulletproof or lightning proof. She has hurt feelings that she wants to keep buried deep. As Zuko, Ty Lee, and May leave her, she's left alone. again, alone to go head to head with her emotions all by herself. When she's truly lost her way, she imagines her mother as a guiding hand to lead her on a better path, to not scold her for being wrong or isolating her, but as a person who is willing to listen and to get to the root of her negative behavior. When Azula wants to kill her mother to stop the voices in her head, she stops when she finally gets some open affirmation from her mother. Azula truly loves her mother, but because of her lack of knowledge about her emotions, she's clueless about how to express herself. Look at the episode The Beach. She's away from her princess role and still has no sense of self. Ursa's banishment hit Azula hard. Questions about their relationship never really got resolved, and she was forced to speculate what that answer might be, finally pushing the blame on herself because it was easier, whereas it's a lot more complicated than just that. Ursa is an influence that leads her children on two different paths. Zuko is on a path of redemption and embraces himself for who he is. Azula, on the other hand, disassociates and suppresses her true self. Zuko learns to love and forgive, whereas Azula controls people with fear and never forgives herself. Ursa's parenting style may not be perfect, but she truly cared unconditionally about both her children. Ursa and Azula's story does not end here, so check out this video to truly understand what Azula's motivation is about. Hope you guys have a lovely day, and I'll see you next time.